Something to think about. Cliches and other words to the wise. Exploration of the phrases we hear and say all the time, often without thinking. Welcome to Something to Think About, the podcast where we break down the familiar to uncover the extraordinary and sometimes funny truths. I'm your host, Errol Cooper. Today we're decoding cliches and unpacking the wisdom tucked into each phrase we've heard hundreds of times but really paused to think about. Today, why do we call our final effort the last ditch? So you've probably heard someone say, "This is my last ditch effort," when they're putting everything on the line for one final try. But where does that phrase actually come from? The word ditch literally means a long, narrow trench dug into the ground, often along the side of the road or field. These ditches were common in the countryside and especially significant in historical battles. Think back to times when soldiers would dig defensive trenches to protect themselves from enemy attacks. The last ditch refers to the very last trench or barrier a soldier might fall back to in a desperate situation. It's the final line of defense, the last safe place before everything is lost. So today, when we say last ditch effort, we're invoking that image of making a final stand with everything we've got, even if the odds are against us. This military term made its way into everyday language to describe any last desperate attempt to achieve a goal when all other options have been exhausted. Closing thoughts. Sometimes life puts us through tough spots where giving up feels easier than pushing forward. But just like the last ditch in the battle, it's often the final stubborn effort that makes all the difference. So when you're up against the wall, remember that your last ditch might be your breakthrough. Now that's something to think about. Thanks for joining me, your host, Errol Cooper, on Something to Think About.